Welcome everyone. My name is Jan Hennecke. I'm the product manager for Lowcost Automation and RBTX.com. And today we want to talk about reducing the obstacles between industrial automation and your business. So igus for about 10 years now has a department called Lowcost Automation. It's a very interesting name, but what we try to do is we try to provide low-cost automation to customers. And we provide this multiple ways with one principle, and that's what we're trying to share today. So I want to start this webinar off by showing you a case study that we did a couple of years ago. Basically what we do is we compare traditional automation with low-cost automation. So I'll go ahead and play this video so that you can see. Basically the application here is a conveyor picking application. Something very standard that many automated factories have to deal with. On the left side, you can see a Delta robot with a camera system that is picking parts from the conveyor belt. And I'll run the video. Here you can see there's many parts per minute, so the picking has to be done quite fast. And then it's quite the complex process because the parts are, distributed all over the conveyor. Now, the problem is not only the cost of the individual components, as you can see here, but there is an extra cost. It's the integration cost, making sure that the vision system works with the Delta robot. In comparison, we have our low-cost option here that basically you can see there's a mechanical alignment system that makes sure that you don't need a camera system, but basically the objects are always in the same spot. You then have a linear pusher and another linear gripper that then take always 4 parts at a time. So as you can see, the cost around 10,000 euros is about a tenth of the price of the traditional robotic system. One of the main things that you can see here is instead of using one robot, we actually use 2 robots. That's kind of counterintuitive because you might think that's more expensive. But in this case, we're able to lower the cost by using just very simple robots. So we'll talk a little bit more about it later. But one of the core principles of low-cost automation is breaking the process down into multiple steps, almost in as many steps as you can. But to summarize this, basically what low-cost automation is to automate what could have been automated before and to lower the barrier of entry into industrial automation. That means that some processes in your factory, they just don't have the ROI that you can just go out and get an RFQ from integrators so that you get an ROI on that project really fast, or never. You never know. So basically what we found is that automation projects, they have two cost pillars. One side is the hardware side. Fast robots with heavy payloads and a lot of good precision. They cost a lot of money. Camera systems are very expensive, and then the grippers and the whole system together. That's one pillar, expensive hardware. The other pillar is the integration side. So using difficult to use software that need a lot of expertise to plug the whole system together. That is usually outsourced because it's expensive to have a team like that in the beginning, but not having that means that it's even more expensive for those projects because you have to outsource it to someone else to do it for you. And then every single time something goes wrong or you have to change something, you have to pay those people again. So the first step, as I said, for low-cost automation is to take a process and break it down into individual steps. As we just saw, there was a conveyor belt with parts coming down the conveyor belt. Instead of just picking the parts from the conveyor belt, we added a mechanical alignment system to make sure that the parts are always in the same spot. So that just eliminated a camera system, because having the mechanical alignment system just makes sure the components are always in the same place. You just have to detect that they're in the same place. And that is done by a simple proximity sensor. You then have a pusher that moves those over onto a table to allow for more parts to come. So therefore you allow really high throughput. Then, instead of having a Delta robot that picks each individually, you just have a line gantry that has maybe a higher payload, regardless, and then pick 4 at a time, which allows you to have 1/4 of the speed. So you're not only, making sure that everything is neat and fits in the box, but you're also reducing the speed and therefore the performance that's needed from the system. And this is what is really interesting about low-cost automation. Breaking the process down into individual steps where you need less performance allows you to use robots that are not the most high-performing robots when it comes to precision, speed, or payload. Here you can see some examples of what we have. You can see our flat gantry. This is what I have here in front of me. We also have them as 3-axis systems, like the room gantry. The Delta robot, that is good for pick and place, as we've just seen. And the Rebel, the 6-axis collaborative robot arm. Those are just some examples of robots that we provide. And the idea of those robots is not to be the heaviest payload, the highest precision, or the fastest robots that are out there. The idea is really to figure out how can we make robots affordable, break a complicated process down into individual steps to make sure that these robots fit those specs. So you could also call it just-in-spec automation, and therefore allowing you to have a good ROI on your project. There's many people out there, maybe you're one of them, that have a need for automation, but those processes are just too complex or too simple, or just parts are not expensive enough so that the ROI makes sense. Here I have an example out of our factory, which was one of the reasons that we started automating ourselves. This is a metal slider, and I'll hold it a little bit more into the camera, that has injection molded material around it. This is for our linear actuators. This is our slide here. And basically what this does, the simple purpose of it is to slide in this actuator. So now we have it in the actuator. The simple purpose is to slide back and forth. This is one of our main products at igus, one of our core technologies, improve what moves with motion plastics. So what we have to do here is we have to injection mold the plastic around this metal slider. The simple way to do this is to hire a person and have that person sit next to the injection molding machine and place these sliders into the injection molding machine. But you can imagine it comes with all the disadvantages that we see at currently. We have labor shortages, this is a boring job, it's dangerous in an injection molding machine, and all kinds of other factors that might play into role. You might be able to do it faster with a robot, maybe you just can't find someone. So next I want to show you a quick video of how we did automate this process, not the traditional way, but the low-cost way. And just so you know, this is a process that has been developed in Germany for our own use, and we have many machines running with it in our facility in Cologne. So before I start this, you can see here those metal sliders, they get fed in from one side and then go on this separator table. Please imagine how many different single steps are in this automation process versus one robot arm picking it and putting it into the injection molding machine themselves. So you can see the separator table shaking up this mini sliders, and then a camera system with the Delta robot detecting those sliders. We then can see another camera that kind of detects the orientation. Here you can see how the gantry robot puts the slider into the form, and this one is one that is actually upside down, so we added a little flipping mechanism. Now 4 of these metal sliders get put into the form, get adjusted, as you can see here. Now we're waiting for one more to be added, and there it comes. We then adjust them and have basically 4 of these. They get rotated by 90 degrees because that's the orientation of the injection molding machine, and pass off to the next gantry. So we basically have 3 gantry systems that are nested inside of each other. And then they get placed in the injection molding machine. What's interesting about this is that we got this fully automated system quoted by an integrator for $65,000, and we were able to, with our sales price, do this machine for about $25,000. So we had a significant cost reduction, and this is also a very reliable machine because linear systems tend to be very reliable and pain-free when it comes to maintenance. So this is just an example of how we use, breaking down somewhat of a complex movement into individual steps with our own automation, because we also have our factories, and it's always great to use your own equipment. But there's more parts here than you might see. There's camera systems involved, there's pneumatics involved, there's all kinds of systems involved to build a whole solution. And this is something that we've seen with most of our customers as well. They might reach out, or you might come to us and say, hey, I think I might need a robot arm, and we might be talking to you about this Rebel or its bigger sibling, the normal Rebel. But you might also still need a gripper, you might still need a camera system, you might need a conveyor, you might need other things. So we realized that most customers actually need a solution. And this is where many problems came into play, because yes, your robot provider, your kinematics provider can do low cost, but then it's still really, really hard to find other people or other companies that share that philosophy. Because there are so many automation companies out there. It's really hard, to talk to 20 people at the same time if your automation project is very complex. So what we did is we started a marketplace. We call it RBTX, Robotics Marketplace. What we do is we partner up with companies that have the same philosophy that we have. Try to offer low cost and easy automation. So to reduce the cost of the hardware, but then also to simplify the integration, that maybe you can do it, or with the help of someone, you can do it fairly quickly and therefore affordable. The idea is to not build an ecosystem that is fully enclosed and very nice to use. The idea is to have it semi-open source. And this is really important because automation is so vast, and I believe anyone that's in here has probably different use cases in case you're from the same team. But automation is so vast that you need to be able to account for other components as well. So what we do is we offer components from our partners and then help provide all the documentation that is needed for that. We also have engineers on staff that help you recommend the right parts and help you with the integration if you need more help. This is our main page. You can see this is the bigger sibling of the Rebel kit. It's the normal Rebel. It goes for $6,899. It has a shunt gripper attached to it for $1,340 and a sensor, an IFM camera in this sense. As you can read here, build your own robot with components that are 100% compatible. This is one thing that is very important to us because we've all, maybe you haven't, but we've all ordered a component and then realized, oh yeah, I need another cable with it. How do I attach it together? So what we do with RBTX is we want to make sure that if you buy components as a package, that you get all the components that you need to work together. If the components are fundamentally incompatible, you will not be able to purchase them together. You can talk to us, and if you disagree, we can make sure that you can purchase them. But we want to make sure that you don't run into a situation where you buy components that just don't fit. So we have a 100% compatibility promise where we make sure that the components you buy, they work together. And we do that multiple different ways. We do offer 3 services on this platform that are very important to our customers. One is Talk to an Expert, the RBT Expert service. This means that you can sign up for a free call and you can talk to one of our engineers on staff in our lab where we can do customer tests for you and other things. We have all our robots built up and different use cases and some of our partner components to then hop on a call with you and talk about your project. When we talk about your project, we can then give you some ideas on how to automate it. We can show you some of the components that we have in our lab, and everything is free. 30-minute call, you can just sign up, and we always try to give you an idea by the end of the call of how much your project should be with a budgetary quote or something like that. A second free service is the Machine Planner. It's basically an online tool where you can drag and drop all your components in and then kind of build your system up from there. And lastly, one of our favorite services, Test Before Invest. Test Before Invest is a service where, let's say we've identified kind of the process and what we need to do. You can send us your sample, and then we will test it for you and send you a video of a feasibility study. So you will kind of have an idea that the process works. For most people, automation is kind of scary, and it's like, you know, getting your first automation machine. It tends to be kind of expensive when you're there for the first time. So knowing that the process works and that the machine that we're recommending works usually is a very good first step to your first automation project. Now, those are the services, but RBTX in general has two main components. One are solutions and one are products. Here we can see some of the RBTX solutions. We have over 450 solutions on the platform. They are categorized by application. So you can see some of them are, you know, customer tests, something that where the customer agreed that we can put it on the platform. Pick and place application, quality control, dispensing applications. So if you're new to automation, you can just browse this library and see how we've automated processes before, and get an idea of, hey, how do I build a dispensing system? What do I need? So you will see there's many applications and many different ways how to do it, but everyone can learn from it, and it's usually a good first start to see how can I do camera inspection? It's something I haven't done before. Go on RBTX, go into quality control, and then you can find some solutions that we've built before. And then feel free to reach out to us to get a little bit more of an idea of what we would recommend. But anyways, all of these solutions have a video attached to them, so you can see what happens and see what the robot is doing, how the problem was solved. We have some pictures. The price is always transparent, so you can see the price of the whole solution. We have some useful facts, and then small description so you can understand what this application is about and what the goal was. On the right side, you see the components from the website that were used to complete the solution. You can see the pricing of the components, and if you try to understand what a 2D vision sensor for inspection is, then you can click on the component and learn more about it. Speaking of components, the second part of RBTX, you can just browse components and see if they fit for you. Every component that is listed has its pricing transparent, so you can see it directly on the website. Every component, if you click on the component, you can see more information. You can find a description of the component. You can download data sheet. You can go to the vendor and learn more about it. And you can also, on those component sites, you can find the solutions where we've used this component. So it's full circle. None of this would be working without our partners. We do have component partners, but we also have integration partners. So that when you come to us with a problem, that we can, draw from the right resources to complete your project with you. We have over 50 different partners, and some of them are displayed here. And we're hoping over the long term that we can have partners from all, kinds of automation areas, so that when you come to us with your project, that we know who to reach out to and how to bring the right people in the room to complete a low-cost automation project with you. There's multiple ways to reach out. You can email me. You can check out igus.com or rbtx.com. Very excited about low-cost automation and RBTX, and I can't wait to hear feedback or any questions.